Hello and welcome back. So I'm here at Boxengasse near Bicester, home also to Autofarm, but it's the Footman James Coffee and Chrome meet, and just going to have a quick look around the car park first. Obviously in Boxengasse and in Autofarm it's pretty full of Porsches, but we'll see what else is here. Okay, kicking off a few highlights then, we've got a little run of TVRs. Do you know what? I mean, I wish I knew more about which TVR's which. Chimeras, Griffiths, etc. I'm sure you'll be able to tell me in the comments what I'm missing, what they are. And you've got an AMG V8 Merc sat in between them and another. So there you go. This gives me a little clue, doesn't it? The Griffith. I should know that because I did drive one. And in fact, the one with there was a stripe is also a Griffith, which then probably makes that a Chimera. I don't know. I mean, probably like I said, I'll get it wrong. You'll tell me what it was. Yeah, it's nice. 488 Spider. It's a nice looking thing, isn't it? Nothing ever looks that great sitting on grass, because it sort of just seems to sink into the grass with the wheels. But yeah, that's a nice thing. So a nice Jaguar Mark II here in British Racing Green. It's a 3.8 litre, and it's got the triple carb setup, so that'll be pretty rorty when that's going. I guess that's why they've opened the bonnet, so it's not just your average bog standard thing. I'm not sure what. Yeah, look at that induction intake at the front there underneath the bumper. Okay, got a little line of 911s here and Porsches, and sat in the middle, Ferrari 348. Left-hand drive, this one. I know it's got the cues from the sort of Testarossa down the side, but I just don't think it looks quite right to me. Succeeded by the 355, which was much more popular. No, it might be the bog standard Carrera. I guess the 3.6 997, but it's in such a lovely colour and quite a nice spec. Not against the black wheels on this one. It's got the lobster claw wheels. Yeah, it's quite nice. It's a McLaren 650S. So Harry Metcalf just bought the Spider version of this. Some of us can't believe that he's chopped in a brand new Lotus Emira for a almost 10-year-old McLaren, but there we go. To each his own. Nice colour. So Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio. Very fast, lots of horsepower. Probably too much for our roads. That's why a couple of people I know have the Veloce, which is sort of one down, but an awful lot more usable. Not sure if we've inadvertently arrived at the Festival of the Unexceptional Citroën AX, but it's a special limited edition or special edition debut. So probably meant it had a few graphics on it or something. That's probably about it. Yeah, it's one of quite a few Cobras or Cobra replicas that here at the show. You can see there's another one sort of in the row behind. 427 cubic inch engine on this one. Big lump, no doubt makes a really great noise. First of all you think, oh, it's just a Seicento, and you think, oh look, it's got Abarth seats and Abarth badges and Abarth wheel centres and stuff, so maybe it's something a bit special. And then you read the blurb and I don't think it is, it's just a standard sort of standard spec. Porsche 924, it's a two-tone paint job. Whether that had it originally or not, maybe it was probably all white, but it has got Pasha interior. It's quite nice. Probably quite faded by now though.
Oh yeah, you did. Yeah, you had that soft top in.
It's very nice, tidy Series 2 open two-seater. E-Type, obviously, Jaguar. Guessing that's had a fairly recent restoration. The paint job on that's very nice. Lotus Evora GT. Obviously the spiritual successor, if you like, to the Esprit. Quite nice. I've driven one. There's a lot more room inside those than there is in the Elise and Exige, even though they're kind of very similar underpinnings. So you go two generations of Mercedes SL. It's the R107, the red one there, which I think finished late 80s, and then this one came in, the R129, which is a much more modern car, but it's such a long serving car, the 107. It's unsurprising that there was such a improvement in design and things like that by the time the 129 came in. This would be the one I'd quite like to have though, or not this one particular one, but this era. So the previous generation of Ford Mustang, I guess I'm picking this out because it's hard not to, isn't it, in that colour. Kind of triple yellow with racing stripes. Nice classic TVR this time. Again, I don't know the nomenclature of this. Is it an S something, and TVR S2, S3? So these I do like. I do fancy having one of these one day. This is one of the is this a later iteration or is it an S? Just kind of look at the dashboard. Yeah, sort of a later facelift Vantage S. Still got the 4.7. This one's a manual. Nice colour too. Makes a change for them not being grey. So originally, from a distance, thought this was one of the Volkswagen Trekkers or Things, but it's not. It's a Citroen. So I'm guessing it's kind of like based on a 2CV. Yellow headlamps, classic French thing. But yeah, interesting. We've got Alpha. I don't know which one it is. It's from Alphaholics, and I don't know. Is it the Junior Sprint GTA? Obviously, race prepped or rally prepped. Very nice. And sitting next to another Alpha. Is this the original Duetto? Is this the boat tail? Also known as the cuttlefish bone. I did know the Italian for that. I've forgotten it now. Osside or something. Yeah, Series 1 E-Type. Also beautiful, tidy looking. Got a cooling fan still running, so bearing in mind the car park's been filling up behind it. That's obviously been running on for some while. I don't know if it's hopefully temperature, thermostat controlled and not going to keep going and drain his battery. Early 996. Just guess the bog standard one. Carrera. It's Tiptronic. Probably the cheapest 996 you can buy, cheapest 911 you could buy would be one of those Tiptronic 996 with the fried egg headlamps. Nice little Wolseley. Don't know what type those. I think I've seen one of these, it might even been this one, not far away from here in Woodstock. Proper classic though. Kind of everyday, everyman classic. Just a standard family car, I'm guessing, from what, I don't know, 60 years ago. I do like these Volkswagen Siroccos. Yeah, I think it's the second iteration, isn't it? But it still retains the sort of same basic underpinnings. Just got a little bit of bodywork around it to sort of modernise it. My boss had one of these back in the, gosh, when would that have been? Mid-90s. Dream car, and then he managed to have a bit of an oops, and it was written off. But yeah, lovely thing. Nice little classic Fiat 500 Cinquecento. It's quite tidy and tiny by comparison. You think a Toyota Yaris next to it. It's okay, it's a GR Yaris, so it's a bit more beefed up, but it looks enormous by comparison. It's McLaren 750S Spider. It's a nice, lovely colour. Like at first I didn't like what they did to the lights for the 720, but they kind of got them as intakes. But because I kind of just thought the old lights, which were sort of representative of the McLaren's speed sort of shape or logo, but yeah, they do look nice. Nice little Healy, Austin Healy Frog Eye Sprite or Bug Eye Sprite. kind of a powder baby blue. Quite tidy. That's sitting next to what looks like a rather beefed up Evora. Must be is it a 400 or 410 GTE. Nice colour scheme though. Doesn't quite sit right compared to the JPS Esprit, which is much better looking. But that's the nod to it. People who've watched my channel before know I'm a bit of a fan of the Volvo P1800s. Not one of the earliest I've seen, but it's still nice looking. Nice kind of off-white colour. And another Evora. And then the car that sort of restarted things, if you like, for McLaren. The 12C, this is a Spider. BRDC sticker in the window. Maybe it belongs to some racing driver. Can you think of a racing driver that's C7 RRS, maybe? Cars. Okay, so having only seen one of these before, and that was about 5 minutes ago, here's another one. So it must be a thing. So what is it? The Mahari, Citroen Mahari? Marina? Are they the people whose names that own it? But yeah, that yellow one was the first one I've ever seen, and now here's another one. So this is a Wolseley Hornet, but basically it's a Mini with a boot and a Wolseley badge. When BMC were into their badge engineering, just slap a different badge and a bit of extra sparkle on some of their cars that makes it different. So it's a Maserati. Now I thought this was just a standard Spider, and I'm not seeing a Grand Sport Spider, but I didn't even realise they existed, but maybe they did. Either that or it's just a spurious badge been put on the side saying V8 Grand Sport. I guess it does look a bit more updated than maybe the earlier ones, but interesting to know. If you know, let me know in the comments. But yeah, a bit more in the way of the body kit. That sort of side skirt is definitely Grand Sport. I didn't realise there was a Spider version of them. So Fiat 124 Spider, styled by Pininfarina, hence it's sporting all the F Farina badges everywhere. It's quite a nice tidy looking thing. Interesting sort of alternative to have than compared to an Alpha Spider. Probably a little bit more unusual and less common. A couple of Bentleys together representing kind of old Bentley and new Bentley, when it sort of things move to the more rounded shape from this more kind of Rolls-Royce type shape. They're sort of reasserting their sporting looks with the Continental GT. Well, it's the later iteration. What's this? 111. Just absolute nuts. Lotus. Got the same sort of mentality of people that would drive an Ariel Atom. Very hardy folk. So it's an interesting thing. It's made by Dunsmore. I've got a feeling I've got a feeling it's a recreation, sort of replica type thing. But it's a very interesting thing. Nicely done. Modern car, but with older looks. The Lotus Eclat. I think it's probably quite an early one. Riviera spec. Got the Speedline wheels. Same engine as the Esprit, pretty much. Sitting next to a modern Alpine A110. It's a Ferrari 296, lovely looking blue. Now for me, any Ferrari that's not red is kind of interesting, worth looking at. Yeah, very sleek looking. Obviously V6. Another Aston Martin Vantage. The Roadster. This is the earlier one, 4.3 litre. So we saw the 124 Spider earlier. This is a kind of earlier version of it, I guess. Also styled by Pininfarina, and also a nice looking thing. So there's a Gordon Keeble, Italian styled, British made, with a Chevy 4.6 litre V8 under the hood. Nice colour as well. I say that about a lot of cars, don't I? Anything that's not grey is a nice colour to me. So again, never been a huge fan of French cars, but I thought I'd feature this one because someone somewhere is going to like it. Citroen CX-25. I think it's a turbo. It's got lots of numbers on the back anyway. big old car. CX-25 DTR Turbo 2, if that's enough of a word, of a name of a car. So Renault 4CV, you don't see many of these around, but apparently they were made in their thousands back in the day. Ferrari 599 GTB, big V12 under the bonnet there, quite a thing. And next to that, Porsche 928, a little bit of a later one, or slightly later one, got later wheels, spoiler. So plenty of people will be all over this because of the number of windows, I guess. Been nicely done as well. Probably looks a whole lot better than it goes. So again, if any of you have watched my stuff before, you'll know I've got a bit of a thing for DeLoreans. I know they're not the best cars. I actually drove one and they're not the most powerful, very underpowered for what they are. But they just garner attention everywhere. It's unusual to have one at a car show that doesn't have its doors up, to be fair. So all you got to do is put the doors up and everyone comes flocking to it to have a look. So another V12 Ferrari, an 812 Superfast. Now, what I said about Ferraris not in red, any Ferrari that's not red is interesting. I'd probably take out grey out of that equation because I'm not a big fan of grey cars when it's something like that. Should be a decent colour. So Ferrari 328 GTS Spider. Kind of prefer the 308. So all this sort of bit here is all filled in on the 328. I just think it looks nicer and sort of sharper as a 308, and the louvers go up the wings rather than across the bonnet. Apart from the Quattro Valvoli, which has them across the bonnet as well. Classic spec though, Rosso Corsa over Kramer. And you got to love the open gate on the shift. So Boxengasse is a bit of an interesting venue in the sense of it's got the exhibition, the kind of car meet space, but it's also got a couple of businesses in here. So you've got Autofarm who take up most of this space. Obviously independent Porsche servicing and projects. And then you've got the area or the space that's used by the guy that owns it all. It's like the Black Betty workshop. And if you've never seen this before, this is just phenomenal. This is like the man cave of all man caves. This is his office. So just up there on the mezzanine, you've got his desk, and he sits there and he looks out on his little car collection. I say little car collection, it's a hell of a load of cars already, but mostly 911s, pretty much all Porsches, different sorts, different eras, race ones, road ones, whatever. And then he's got all his toys up there, like a football table and stereo and whatnot. It's him with his back to us up there, sat and chatting. Yeah, an amazing space. And then obviously down here is the kind of the dirty bit, it's workshop, but it isn't dirty, it's pretty clean. It's just a lovely space. I just feel like, if I had, 1/5 of this space or even 1/10 of this space to be able to do things with cars and videos, it would just be phenomenal. Okay, so this is the project workshop for Autofarm. So they've got different things going on, whether they're doing retro mods or backdating, things like that. They've also got, I think, what it looks like a 911 race car there, sort of carbon fibre bodied, that they're working on. I think, as I understand it, they're turning it into a sort of road spec. So there's obviously certain things they can't use from the race car, but they would have to provide road going versions of. But yeah, this is just their project workshop, so they've obviously got their main service workshop, which we'll go into in a sec. Just a little look at the car park at Autofarm. Look at some of the cars they're actually working on, or just some of the visitors as well. Probably a bit of both. So it's their main service workshop. So they've got all the lists of all this, just everyday servicing they do for their Porsches. Anything from 911s and Cayennes. And then they've also got a few cars that they've got for sale. So one of the interesting cars I think for sale is this fairly early 308. It's a steel bodied, so it's not one of the very early ones, but it's fairly early, and this is the carburettor, this is pre-injection. And actually it's for sale for only 49,000. It's quite good money for one of those. So I don't know what work it needs, but yeah, 49 is quite an attractive price. Okay, so just wrapping things up. It's been a good morning here. There's been quite a lot of cars here. Most of them are gone now. I've just spent a good while talking to Mike Wasty from Autofarm, someone I've known since he was a teenager, doing really well bringing up that business and expanding it, and they're still really going really well, so that's super to see. But here we go, Footman James, coffee and chrome. It's been a great morning. I hope you've enjoyed some of the highlights of things that I've seen, mostly in the car park. Funnily enough, given that this is really a Porsche destination, I've kind of skipped on a lot of the Porsche stuff. There's people who know an awful lot more about Porsches than I do, so that's easier to do it that way. Anyway, if you've got this far, thank you very much for watching, and see you again next time. Bye bye.